Hey there, how's it going? It's me, Jerupitus, and it's Friday, and that means we're playing Final Fantasy. Now, last episode, I did screw something up. Now look, I'm a human being, and I was very excited about the trap chests. So excited, in fact, that I forgot to actually open them. But there is a silver lining here. A, we've already seen all the fights in here, so I can cut all them out. And B, we kind of need to do a little bit of grinding, because we still can't cast level 8 spells. So diving back in here is gonna be fine, despite the fact that it's a little annoying. The other thing is that those level 8 spells are gonna be really expensive. If we want to finish our level 8 spellbooks, we need around 360,000 gil, and right now we have 246, so we're close, but we still need to buy Wilbo's final weapon, the Cat Claw. That's going to be 65,000. So the point is that we need a bunch of money, and we still need to level up, so doing this is still accomplishing something to a degree. So I don't feel too bad about it, although I don't feel great about it, I'm not gonna lie about that. But we're already almost there. And it's gonna be right over here. And you might be wondering, why did we bother doing this? And the reasons are twofold. One, this is 100% playthrough, so we do need to open every chest. But two, there is an item here that I really want to talk about. 385 gil, totally worth it. Let's deal with this trap tile. And we remember this one from last time, but these are the waters, and waters are actually weak to ice. So I think I'm going to drop an ice 3 on them, because I don't think we've casted this spell yet, and we may as well. The fortunate part about this is, despite the fact that it's doing an unnecessary repeat dive into a dungeon that we've already seen, is that now we have the exit spell, so we don't even have to walk all the way out. So this is fairly straightforward. And we're pretty much invincible to everything in here, due to the heal staff and the Zeus Gauntlet. Yeah, you know what? I mean, this is the last fight we're gonna be in. Let's just hit him. No reason to hold back. Get him, Wilbo. Alright, and what do we have here? This is the Power Gauntlet. Now, the Power Gauntlet is, for me, the most disappointing, saddest item in the game. And let me explain. First, let's cast Exit and get out of here. So, it's one thing for a spell to not work, right? Like, that sucks. And if you don't know that and you buy the spell and it doesn't seem to be doing anything, that's because it doesn't. And that is really sad. But a unique item like the Power Gauntlet, where it's supposed to cast Saber, it ends up working out just like the Power Glove for the NES, where it just doesn't work. And it's a unique item, and the ability to cast Saber on yourself would have been a really cool use of the hand armor slot, where you would actually have a pretty interesting debate about whether or not you want to use that over the Protect Ring for your fighter, because it does have a useful ability. But instead, it just doesn't do anything. And that really bums me out. That's right, I redove the Sunken Shrine to get an item that just makes me sad. Now, I have a couple of things that I want to do right off the bat here. The first of which is that we lit up another orb. So I want to go back to Crescent Lake to see what the sages have to say about that. The question is, do I remember where Crescent Lake is? And the answer is, of course I do. I would never get lost. So there's Elfland, so it's this way. Right? Somewhere over here. Here we go. We got there just fine. Don't you worry. Because basically their triggers for having new things to say are every time you light up an orb, so I'm curious what they have to say to us now. And there they are. Look at how wise they look. All right, we already know that. We already know that. Yep. We know that. Okay. Okay, do you guys know anything new? You know, I tried to follow your advice of seeing you repeatedly, but... they don't have anything new at all? Okay, I really thought they would. But that's okay. At least we tried. But the sages are unhelpful right now, but that's okay. I'm not going to worry about that too much because I have quite the shopping list right now for spells. Now, as I'm sure you're realizing right now, we have one town left to visit, and that is this town, Lefein. But before we go there, I do want to stop back at Gaia and pick up some magic. And that's going to be right up here. All right, what do you got for me? So, Wilbo definitely wants to learn Break. We can call it Brack if you want to, but it's supposed to be Break for sure. And then I'm pretty sure I have something here for Doc. I think we already learned Cure 4, but maybe not. We did not. Okay, perfect. And then we're going to skip Harm 4 for now. And I do want to go ahead and sell that Power Gauntlet while we're here. Get a little bit of our money back. And we could consider selling some of our other uniques, but there's just no way I can part with those, right? Oops, I missed my turn. I always do. Because there are a couple level 8 things I want to pick up. Doc definitely wants to learn Fade. That is, of course, Holy. We already talked about that, but it is a very good damage spell. Not the best damaging spell in the game, but certainly the best damaging spell for Doc. Now, I do want to pick up Wall, but I really just can't afford it right now. So let's see here. Is there anything here I want for Wilbo? I don't think so. We do want to get Zap and Quad X, I'll call it for short. But we're already down to 108,000 gil, and there are 2 spells that we need to pick up in Lefein that are going to be very exciting. So we'll leave that for now. But we will be filling out those spell books. Why don't we take a look at how we're doing on that? So we need 2 more for Doc at level 7 and level 8. Whoops. And we need a lot for Wilbo, to be honest. That being said, we're going to be pretty rich after we get done with the next dungeon, so we should be able to afford everything we want after that. So why don't we go ahead and make our way to Lefein, but in order to do that, we need to go back to Melmond, because we have that slab. The slab, if you remember, is going to contain the secret to translating Lefeinish. And, Dr. Unne, who hangs out in Melmond, will be able to help us learn that so that we can talk to the people there. So why don't we get that out of the way right now? You know, we fixed the Earth route, but this place still looks pretty trashed, I'm not gonna lie. I wish we could have helped them more. And he hangs out in the graveyard like the true goth doctor that he is. And he says, a slab. This slab will lead us to solve the riddle of the Lefeinish. Now listen to me. And there we've instantaneously learned another language. Duolingo has nothing on Dr. Unne. And now I'm hoping that it's going to work out perfectly where our on-foot trek to Lefein is going to get us enough gil to buy both level 8 spells that will be on sale there. I don't know if that's true, but I'm really hoping so. Now, if I can just remember how to get there. Because it is here. Now, I don't believe I can land south of it. That's right. Okay. So we've got a ways to go. Yep, and right here is the only spot you can land. So let's do it. Let's get to walking. Unfortunately, this walk is not going to involve a lot of new encounters. The enemy types here actually feel a little bit outdated. You run into things like giants. And then other things that we've already seen at the Peninsula of Power. This is the area that monster type of, Ooh, Wilbo levels up, that's good. But what I was trying to say is that this is the grid where those enemy groupings are taken from. All right, and here we are already. Did we make enough money? We did not. We need to get in one more fight. So you know what? Let's just do it. All right, Skittle leveled up. Nothing wrong with that. Did we get there? We did. Perfect. Didn't work out quite perfectly, but close enough. So let's talk to these people. We are the Lefeinish. Only our bravest became sky warriors. Your airship was theirs. So I was wrong when I said they don't tell you too much about them. We are going to get a decent amount of information about the sky warriors here. Oh, the light warriors. The legend is true. The legends are always true. Everyone knows that. At the time of destruction, a legend was born. In 400 years, warriors with orbs will appear to save our people. Are you? You better believe it, buddy. Yes, we are. And we are here to save not just your people, but the people of all of the world. The floating castle. Our ancestors lived there. The Mirage Tower is the entrance, so that is some very good information. I guess I can just maybe try to push this guy this way. All right, well, we'll talk to this one then. We knew that a great power controlled the fiends. Our 5 bravest warriors left never to return. Those were the Sky Warriors. And they didn't make it. Unfortunately. Our last 5 warriors left to find the cause of the world's decay. We know they live, but as bats. Interesting. So they're bats, huh? And with this chime, you can enter the Mirage Tower, so we can finally get in the Mirage Tower. The power of wind was taken by Tiamat, so that's going to be our wind fiend. We fought with Tiamat, but were unsuccessful. The fiend now inhabits our floating castle, so yep, now we've got some direction, we know what we're doing. We need to go to the Mirage Tower, and let's check this out. So we've got the chime. Stamped on the bottom, made in Lefein. I hope that that's a sign of quality and not... Some of those stamps made in certain places are not signs of quality. Anyway, We also have this cube that was given to us by the robot behind the waterfall. Now, what may happen on certain playthroughs if you don't end up sort of blocked off with options for where you can go the way I did, is that you would get to the Mirage Tower, and at the top of the Mirage Tower, you would realize that you need the cube to get to the floating castle. But we already have it, so we're going to be able to do it basically in one go. But the idea, I think, was to have you do it twice, as with most of the dungeons here. The way they're designed feels like on your average playthrough, you'd end up doing them twice, and in that way you'd make more money and gain more levels. As it stands, we are gliding right along the line of having exactly enough for what we want. Until 400 years ago, we controlled the power of the wind. This enabled us to suspend the castle in the air. 400 years ago, we had an advanced civilization. Our interest was the universe. So I think you are probably starting to see what's going on here, that they were very advanced, and perhaps the words we're using to describe things are not actually what they are. And what could a floating castle be? I wonder if the robots made by our ancestors are still moving. Well, at least a couple of them are. The floating castle floats high in the sky, seemingly among the stars. It sure does. We have passed on the legends from generation to generation, but 400 years have caused our memories to fade. Yeah, that's sad, but they were a highly advanced civilization, and they built what we refer to in terms that people living in this time can understand as a floating castle, and we're going to get there, and we'll talk about what that might mean pretty soon. But we're going to take this hidden passage, and over here, with this very specially marked building, are going to be the final level 8 spells, so let's check it out. And there it is, the final level 8 piece of white magic, Life 2, and if you're a series fan, you know exactly what this spell does. It raises a KO'd party member to full health. Now, you would think that something like this might be pretty challenge-breaking, the way that it is in some of the other games where you can cast things like up to Life 3, where if they're KO'd, they're instantaneously re-raised, like in Final Fantasy VI. However, in this game, you cannot use life spells in combat. It is not used to turn the tide of battle. It's basically just there so that you can save on healing items and cure spells, which is still very good. It is definitely around the best white magic spell. You could make an argument that Cure 4, with its status ailment curing ability and a full heal, is probably the best one, at least as far as combat is concerned. And your main concern should be winning in combat. But Life 2 is still a very exciting spell. Unfortunately, we still can't cast level 8 magic, but that's okay. Let's get to the black magic shop. And there it is, the ultimate damaging spell in the game. In this game, it's called Nuke, but what this spell really is Flare. And you may not know that because this is... So the reason it's Flare is because it's non-elemental, big fat damage. But it affects every enemy. It affects the entire enemy formation in this game. And it is very, very good. Now, it is worth noting that because it's non-elemental, you're never going to get that damage boost that you get from elemental weaknesses. However, nothing resists it, so it's very consistent. It's very consistently damaging. And it's real, real sweet, and I love it. And those two spells, among a few other spells, but those two in particular, Cure 4 deserves an honorable mention, are the reasons that I bring a white mage and a black mage so they can become white wizards and black wizards, because they are the only people who can cast those spells. I know I've said it already, but everyone in our party has something unique about them that only they can do. Now, why don't we head back to the airship? This is going to be a little bit of a walk, so let's just get right to it. Because we've got to get to the Mirage Tower. Alright, I leveled up. That's just great. and Doc, so we just need Skittle to get to 22, but we're getting there. We're making some progress. Mercifully, Lefein does not have a weapons and armor shop, so there's nothing new to buy. But I did mention that Skittle has kind of a resistance problem right now, right? So let's check out his equipment. He has all opal stuff in a pro ring, so he only resists lightning and death. Now, for example, I resist fire, ice, and death, and then Doc and Wilbo resist everything. Now, in order to do this dungeon, or tower, I guess I should say, we would really like to have 3 open armor slots, but we don't. So what that's going to mean is that basically in order to do the Mirage Tower and the floating castle in one go, we're gonna have to drop a bunch of stuff, which kinda hurts me a little bit, right? Like, you really don't want to do that. You'd really prefer to sell that, but if I was gonna do that, well, I guess it's not actually that far back to the airship, right? Maybe we can get away with doing 2 dives? Maybe that's the best thing to do. You know what? Let's do that. First, why don't we swing by Gaia and just hit the inn and make sure we're ready to go. Because I want to be ready for this. The encounters in here are going to be reasonably difficult, despite the fact that we're pretty well leveled by now. Look at our sad gil total. We are so broke. I don't even have enough to buy 99 heal potions. Fortunately, because of the heal staff, I don't really have to, and I probably won't have to buy that many more for the rest of the game. But we are certainly going to want a 99 count, at least for the final dungeon. We probably don't need it here, but we are hurting for cash pretty badly, so I think I'm going to change my mind, and we're going to collect all the treasure in here. We may have to drop, like, 1 thing, but we're gonna try to sell some stuff. And I'm realizing right now that I should have done that first. So I do apologize for that. But we're gonna head right back. Ooh, red ankylos. These are new. And these are dangerous. In fact, we may want to run. Alright, we're gonna actually do some boss battle strat here and get a fast up on me. We're gonna do, I think, a fog too. And let's get a fast up on Skittle. Because these guys are no joke. And I'm hoping that this doesn't go super sideways, but we'll see. Jeez. Alright. Fortunately, these are a little bit squishier than the regular ankylos, but they hit really hard. So why don't I drop a heal too? I guess we'll just Zeus Gauntlet. But we're starting to meet enemies that can deal us triple digits damage. And it is disconcerting to say the least. Not even a great reward. But no big deal. But let's just make sure we're healed up here. That beat us up pretty significantly. As compared to enemy formations in the Sunken Shrine that can't really touch us, we got touched there. To put it weirdly. Okay. Yeah, I kind of can't believe I did this right after mentioning I'd like to have 3 open armor slots, and then I just went and headed right at it without having 3 open armor slots. So why don't we go ahead and sell Skittle's helmet? He's going to take an absorb hit, as you may imagine, but it's the most expendable thing we can sell. And now we have 3 open armor slots. That looks real nice. All right. So with that little diversion out of the way, let's get back to it. Oh, you know what? I'm glad we did this, because I almost forgot to show you this. So you remember the Peninsula of Power, right? Well, this could best be described as the Peninsula of Goblins, where this is another error in programming where enemy formations appear. There's just going to be formations of goblins here, so why don't we check out one of those encounters before we get to this Mirage Tower. There they are, the goblins. Remember these guys? They are in big, big trouble. They were not a threat when we were level 1, and we are now something like, on average, level 22. The mage staff is going to absolutely brutalize these guys. These poor, poor goblins. All right, we got him. Whew, that was close. All right. So now, finally, we can get to the Mirage Tower and start raiding the treasure rooms. The exciting thing about this is that the treasure is mostly unguarded. So this is going to be a huge circular room with just an absolute mass of treasure in the center. Now, it is a little bit maze-like. Ooh, guards. These are new, and they're so cool. This is a sprite model that I believe also was reused in later games for the way robots look, and I just think they look so awesome. But our Zeus Gauntlet is going to soften them up quite a bit. I don't really remember how much HP these guys have. Okay, it's around 150 there. Maybe a little bit more. Okay, it must be a little bit more than that. Druid has already, or I already went. What do I want to do here? Yeah, let's just use the heal staff as usual. The point is that they're not much of a threat, but they are really cool looking, and I like that in here, some of the enemies are like futuristic enemy types. If you look at the background for these battle stages, the walls are covered in glyphs. There are robot guards. It's really cool and interesting, in my opinion. Vampires, eh? That kind of doesn't make sense, but whatever. We do have the light axe, so why don't we get that out? And try those out. And I realize that we've already seen vampires, but I kind of want to leave in some of these battles because the sort of range of enemies in here is really disjointed and weird, but I think it's kind of awesome. And you'll notice up top there, there is another robot friend, and we're going to want to go talk to him, which we will do before we leave. 800 gil, that's pretty paltry. The heal helmet. So this is something that I want to put on. Now, you'll notice when I have the stats up there that it is worse defensively than the opal helmet, but it does cast heal, and now that's not something that Skittle particularly wants to be doing. But it is kind of unique. It gives him another option, and I think it's just kind of cool. It's much cooler than the opal helmet, despite the fact that the opal helmet is a little bit more absorb. 18,000 gil, now we're talking. 3,000. And the Vorpal. The Vorpal is an interesting one. I'll leave it up there so you can see the stats on it. So I want to talk about this for a second, so please just bear with me. It has a 17% critical hit chance, okay? Now, the Vorpal is a weirdly middling sword where it isn't really better than anything we already have, and it seems strange. It's supposed to be for thieves/ninjas. And the idea for thieves and ninjas was that their weapons would have high critical hit rates. Now, 17% is pretty high, but it's not as high as you can get with other regular weapons because of the way critical hit works. And how that ends up working is that the variable it calls is not the variable that they gave to the weapon, it's the weapon's index number. Now that number is out of 200, so it's half. So if something, for example, is number 50, it will be a 25% critical hit chance. So the Vorpal is bugged in that 17% was actually higher than they wanted for it, which was 15. The problem is that that's relative to everything else. So even though it's higher than they intended, it's still worse than everything else. 15 was supposed to be really high, and it ends up not being high at all, and which is pretty much the same for 17%. I hope that that all makes sense to you, because I think it's really interesting, but it's another kind of make you sad piece of gear. Now, why don't we loop around and grab the rest of these treasure chests so I can shut up about the Vorpal? Aegis Shield, there we go. Now, this is a really interesting piece of equipment because it is the only piece of equipment in the game, other than the ribbon, which resists everything, that resists poison. I do not believe it's an absorb upgrade, although it might be. You can see that and I can't, but I want the resistance pretty badly. And I did say that we were going to fix Skittle's resistance situation. Now we've got poison, death, and lightning, but it's about to get even better than that. 2,700 gil, that's not very much, but it's better than 800. Ooh, Badmans are new. Those guys are pretty annoying, so I'm gonna make sure it dies. And we'll just go ahead and use the Zeus Gauntlet on everything else. But Badmen are final dungeon level enemies, so they are pretty strong. They have kind of a goofy character model, like they kind of look like their helmet may have rabbit ears on it. Okay, he's down. We went a little bit overboard. I just got kind of a little bit of PTSD from the final dungeon and fighting those things, but one of them is not super dangerous. All right. We're gaining gil at a pretty decent clip. How are we doing now? 46,000? We still need a decent amount more, but there is plenty to do and raid in this place. So why don't we talk to this robot? Are you the master? Sadly, no, we're not. But you can see up here, this panel looks a bit like a server room or a computer panels. And we'll talk about these a little bit more when we get further. Ooh, chimeras, these are new too. How exciting, so many new enemy formations. We're gonna get out our mage staff. Not very much damage. Maybe I'll try the Zeus Gauntlet next time. Unfortunately, with all of our resistances, things like Cremate are just terrible against us now. But admittedly, 3 of these in a row, like 3 cremates in a row, is still a decent bit of damage. And we didn't drop any of them. That is a little concerning, but I think we're gonna be just fine. Let's try the Zeus Gauntlet instead. See if we can eke out a little bit more than roughly 20 damage. That's like way better, right? 100? 100 is certainly better than 20. We'll be using that from now on. Ooh, Ooh, that's a big reward. Nice. You know what? Why don't we make sure we're healed up? All right. And it's time to move on to the second floor of the tower. Now, what I think is really cool about this place is that the design of it on the inside looks like it should, based on its appearance from the outside. Like, the floors are spiraling, and they get a little bit smaller as you go up. Like, it's really good level design. Alright, we need to heal up a little bit. It's almost kind of refreshing. I haven't had to do this in a while. And we are going to have to loop all the way around this room. Honestly, the way I'm feeling right now, I'm kind of glad we're gonna do this twice. I think it's the right call, because we're getting pretty beat up in here. Can we go talk to that robot right now? I kind of want to. Let's see what he has to say. One of us escaped with a cube. He floated far to the west, so that's how you're supposed to understand that you're going to need the cube to progress. But we've already got it. All right. Yeah, now I didn't come in here with 99 heal potions, so we're not technically halfway through our stock, if that makes sense. But I do find the amount of damage we're taking a little bit concerning. But we have a huge treasure room here. Let's check it out. All right, we are thoroughly poisoned again. Of course, my one party member who resists poison is the one who's poisoned. To be sure, that's not the way it's supposed to work, but it is the way it does work, so you know what? We're just gonna deal with it. 8,000 gil, love that. 7,900. The Thor Hammer. Now, imagine that. An actual weapon upgrade for Doc, who has been holding this dumb silver hammer for basically the entire game. Now, obviously, Doc is not going to be attacking with it, but he can cast Lit 2 now for free. So now Doc has the options of casting Heal, Harm, and Lit 2 all for free. Wilbo can cast Fire 2, Confuse, and Lit 2 for free, which is all pretty awesome. I kind of can't believe I'm still holding on to that silver hammer. Like, I could have very easily sold it and just had him equipped with the heal staff, but you know what? Whatever. He's got a brand new hammer, and that is going to be Doc's final weapon. And I think that's very exciting. 12,000 gil. 13,000. Now we're finding some money. Free house. Free real estate, you know what I mean? Ah, the Sun Sword. This is exciting. We have been holding that Ice Sword on Skittle for just ever now, doesn't it seem like? I think we found the Ice Sword in Gurgu Volcano so long ago, and we haven't found an upgrade. Technically, the defense would have been an upgrade, but I needed it more. But the Sun Sword is just straight up better than the Ice Sword, so let's put it on. It's not like Skittle really needs a damage upgrade, but it is very exciting to find something that's actually legitimately better. Okay, we already checked that one. 10,000 gil, and what's in here? The dragon armor. Oh, man. This is Skittle's final armor, and check out the stats on this. And I meant what I said when we were going to fix Skittle's resist. The dragon armor resists cold, fire, and lightning. So now we resist cold, fire, lightning, poison, and death. For the vast majority of things that Skittle is ever going to get hit with, which is why we can end up not having him use a ribbon. Because along with Doc casting something like Wall, which would grant resistance to all elements, or an A-Rub, which he wouldn't really need to do, but it would hit the whole party and grant resistance to Earth, status, and death, Skittle will resist everything except for time, and everyone else in the party, once we have our final ribbon, will resist everything, which is just fantastic because basically enemies don't really use time elemental attacks. It's not something you're ever really going to have to worry about. So you end up with a party that basically resists everything, and with a little bit of spellcraft from Doctor, absolutely resists everything. But Skittle has his absolutely final armor. I think the Aegis shield may be... Aegis, I should say. The Aegis shield may be his final shield. People have their final headgear. Wilbo and Doc both do. Doc has his final weapon. So there isn't that much more that we're going to find that's going to improve, but there are still a couple of things left. Now, I think we should head to the final floor of this place. And see what we can see on floor number 3. It's a very small floor. As I said, the level design in here is just awesome. I love the attention to detail. Yeah, we're doing all right. And here we are. And this is a trap tile, and we are out of formation. Oh dear, what am I doing today? Because all the treasure boxes are unguarded, I kind of forgot there was going to be a trap tile here, so I do apologize for that, but it's going to be all right. We'll get a fast up on myself. And this Blue D is not going to be a huge deal. He's not super scary because he's by himself. And down he goes. And Wilbo levels up, that's always good. Okay, why don't we get healed up and get back in formation before I embarrass myself any further? I was just so excited to talk to that robot, you know? Because I don't know about you, but I like to imagine a world where I can talk to robots. Transporter operation requires a cube. And so this is the point that you would find out, oh no, I don't have a cube, I can't go any further if you haven't been to the waterfall yet, but we have. Now, I'm gonna give you a little sneak preview of where we're going, so why don't we check that out? And here we are. Believe it or not, the floating castle is a space station, and we are in space right now. Now, we are going to get out of here and sell our spoils, and then we'll head back here to finish this up. But for right now, I think this is actually kind of perfect because the episode is getting a little bit long. So I just want to say thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.